My guest today is Aage Nost. And Aage is a cornucopia of different interesting things a person can occupy himself with. His bio is so long that it would probably take too long to read it all out here. But you will find the bio in the description, guys. But Aage, let's have some fun now. And maybe we'll start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your life, if you don't mind.
Well, life is good. I have coffee in hand and I'm ready to go. Yeah. I am living in the United States of America right now, but I was born and raised in Norway, up in the ice pack where they have polar bears for pets. Well, not really, but we kind of joke about it. And I grew up on a farm, and at the age of 25, I left the country, went to the United States to become a commercial pilot. And I got all my certificates and ratings, and I worked for other people for about 3 years and to get more experience. And then we started a flight school that grew into an international air taxi and an air carrier. And from there on, I flew for 23 years and kind of ran the flight school and training and all kinds of different things that you do in the aviation business. And then I retired. I just kind of quit flying and I started searching the universe. I got it within and started developing the mind more than I did. I got in very deeply into hypnosis and the real power of the mind. I was very lucky. I was able to travel around the country teaching a mind development course, a phenomenal course that's called the Zox Pro training course that we taught people how to assimilate information out of a book at the rate of about 50 to 100,000 words per minute with 95% retention. And I lived in Omaha when I did that, and then I moved to Tucson, Arizona, and I ended up with hosting and producing 2 TV shows and several radio shows over the years. And now I am doing a podcast radio show, and I'm doing that with Nori Love, and we are having a lot of fun doing it. And I don't know, I've been talking way too much about this. We got to get on some more interesting stuff.
No worries, Aage, no worries. Very interesting so far. In fact, I want to know more about the radio show that you talked about that you're doing right now recently.
Yeah, the Broadcast Team Alpha is what the radio show or the podcast is called. It's on YouTube and 44 different platforms around the world. And we're having a lot of fun doing that. We're interviewing some of the most interesting people in the world. And we are covering a lot of the stuff that is way outside of the box. And I try not to go too far, because whatever I talk about, I try to back it up by science. And I don't mean Newtonian science necessarily. I delve into the quantum mechanics of things, because there almost everything is possible. Because science, quantum mechanics at least, have proven over and over again by repeatable scientific experiments that we live in a mind-created universe. And if the mind is creating this universe we think we live in, why don't we get in the game with the mind and create good things instead of the garbage that happens to us sometimes? And there is a way to do that. And I'll tell you what, I like to take the next 50 seconds to explain how you do that. Because most people, they spend more time planning their vacation than they plan their life. How stupid is that? I mean, you just, let me back up a little bit. If you want something in your future, if you want it bad enough, you can create it right now. And then place it at a time-coded event in the future. And what you do, you create it in your mind. You with vivid, colorful images. You put emotion into it. You put all the people that you want to be there with you in it. And then you fill it with love and intention. You tell yourself, this will be. And now you have a ball of a visual live image in your mind. Take that and put it into the future at a time-coded event, like a Christmas party, or a birthday party, or middle of the summer, or something like that, that you can relate to. Forget the calendar. The universe don't care about calendars because that's man-made. But a Christmas party, that's a good one. And when you have put it there, go back and forth and visit it every day. What you do when you go back and forth and visit it, that you lay down attractor strings outside of the physical, in the mental arena, to it, go back and forth. And these are little strings that is actually white of color, going to that thing you placed in the future. And now you're drawing yourself up that timeline to that thing you created in your mind. And when you do that, when the time comes, when that New Year's party comes, you just walk into it and it's yours. I have done that, and I tell you, it works. But it's not easy, but it's very simple. Because you have to do the work. You got to do that. You got to create it in your mind. And don't be afraid to think big. Because the bigger it is, it doesn't matter to the universal mind. It will get in the game with you and help you create it. If it is really big and you need some help, people will come out of the woodwork. They will come into your timeline and help you do it. So you don't have to do it on your own. If it's just a small thing, then you may be able to do it on your own. But don't be afraid to think big, because I guarantee you don't know how to think big enough.
That's very interesting. We're talking about manifestation.
Yes.
Yes.
Manifestation and law of attraction roll into one ball, place it in the future, and it's yours.
Yes. You talked about the real power of the mind. What is the real power of the mind? What is the mind capable of?
Well, first of all, mind is the only thing there is because of the mind-created universe. Everything around you is created by the mind. This computer and this microphone, it's all created by the mind. And in fact, let me give you an example. By logic, I will prove to you that we are in a mind-created universe. Let's say that I'm a hypnotist. I put you in a soft chair and I talk to you for 15 minutes and I tell you that when you wake up, you're going to see an elephant standing next to you in the room. Now, if I did my job right and I snap my finger and bring you back out of that hypnotic state, you're going to see that elephant. You can reach out, you touch the snout on the elephant. You can feel the rough skin. You can hear him breathing. You can smell him. He is right there. But there is a problem. I can't see the elephant because there is no elephant there. But in your mind, you are totally convinced there is an elephant standing next to you in the room. And I don't care if you are on the 34th floor of an apartment building, that elephant will be there. So what happened? The real world went away, didn't it? You created that elephant and you can feel him. He is real to you.
So if you can manipulate my mind, I can too. I can manipulate my own mind.
Yes.
But I guess it's hard to get to that point. What's necessary for me to manipulate my own mind and manifest great things?
Yeah. And we do every day, but we manifest average things that is comfortable to us. Like this cup of coffee. Oh, you gotta have coffee. I have convinced myself that I need a cup of coffee in the morning and I enjoy it. So I keep manifesting that. Just a little thing that don't mean anything, but I can also create bigger things. So we should manifest and we should create things out of our comfort zone, because nothing great happens in your comfort zone.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. What is your description or your imagination of consciousness?
Consciousness is life. What we are saying here, that look around you with the life you have created for yourself. No, what you look around you is not life. It is existence. And this computer is part of this existence. Your hand is part of your existence. It's not life. And your body is created by the mind as and it's an artificially created mind, created in holographic form creation. So now we got a little challenge here. Is anything real? Yes, it is. It is real within the holographic existence that we have created for ourselves, but it is still a hologram. And it's a hologram within a hologram. I created the hologram with you in it. You created one with me in it. We're all overlapping into a common acceptance of a holographic existence. Well, this gets a little
It's deep.
out there.
It's deep. Do you think that your or our consciousness, let's say my consciousness, is bound to my body, to my shell?
And not the consciousness. The consciousness is, it is not only in the brain, it is non-local. Like when we talk about the mind, most people think, yeah, that's in the brain. Well, no, it isn't. We also, a few years ago here, they found that there's a brain in the heart. There's a brain in the heart that has anything from 40 to 60,000 neurons, and that brain is responsible for creating most of the emotion, and it also is hardwired to the pituitary gland, which is your antenna that communicates with the universal mind, where everything past, present, and future is lodged. And we have access to that.
So is there such a thing as collective consciousness?
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. That collective consciousness is non-local. You have your own brain, neurons, memory. That's part of consciousness, just one small part of it. And then you have the brain, the memory in the heart. And have you heard about people that have had heart transplants?
Yes.
And when they come out of the hospital, then they suddenly like drinking beer, and they hated beer before. That's because of the memory in the heart. For the previous person that owned that heart, he liked drinking beer. That's where it come from.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I also like the thought, and I don't remember who said it, who came up with this theory that the consciousness is located somewhere within our blood cells. Also, very interesting thought.
Yes, it's there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very
every cell in your body has its own part of consciousness. This every cell listens. It listens to what you say, what you feel, what you do, the emotions you have. Every cell listens to that. So you remember before we started, I said that, yeah, I spoke the German language, and but I haven't done it for 50 years, so I'm probably a little rusted. And then I threw this fun thing out there, ja, ich bin eine Dummkopf. That is the wrong thing to say, because I told myself I'm a dummy, because every cell listens to what you say.
Do you think that our brain is capable of doing? People talk about psi powers like telepathy, telekinesis, things like that. Do you think this is within us? Do you think that we can achieve it? I like the thought that we could do it at one point and then we lost it. I don't know what you think about it, but what's your thoughts on it?
We haven't lost it. We have been told, we have been taught, and we've been hammered into us that we can't do these things. So we believe it. To give you an example, my co-host on the broadcast team Alpha Show, Nori Love, on her kitchen counter when I visited her, she had a fork that was rolled up in a ball, so tight you could not see anything. It's impossible to do this by hand. It was just really rolled up in a very tight ball. And she did that by just looking at it, and the fork just rolled up. That, you know, you heard about bending spoon? Well,
yeah,
she bent a fork.
Oh, just like Uri Geller did.
Yeah, exactly. And I have asked her several times, how did you do that? And she says, I don't know. It came to mind quickly, and I thought I was going to do it. And I looked at it and I kind of visualized it, doing it. And when I was done doing that, I looked at it and says, oh, it did it. So she still don't know how she did it.
I always wonder if there is such a thing as psi powers. Why did we need them? What was the use for these powers?
Well, we had them, and it was commonly used at one time, but it was disconnected from us when you heard about junk DNA. The junk DNA is those powers. That's in the genetics, but it also is in the pituitary's access to the universal mind. We can draw on those because everything we think, we visualize, and we intend for is placed. That thought is placed into the universal mind as potential for physical creation later on. So we can go and think that thought again, and we can bring it home. That is one of the things that we do in the mastermind sessions that we do on Sunday. I'll give you an example. There was a lady that came to us. She have had chronic back pain for 35 years. We wrapped our mastermind around her and her back, and we visualized that thing perfectly healthy. And there was probably 30, 40 people in that group doing this at the same time. And within an hour, there were no pain whatsoever. It all went away. That is some of the things that the mastermind can do, because the mastermind is when two or more minds are united in harmony, they create a third mind, but had the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other. Now, this is not just a thought anymore now. Now it's an energy, a very creative energy that can be directed and focused on a specific item or purpose. And it bends the laws of physics. And we do that in a mastermind quite often.
So we outsourced our powers, so to speak, and we have to learn how to get them back.
Yeah. Yeah, we gave it up pretty much because, schools don't teach you anything. College don't teach you anything. The religion definitely don't teach you anything. It is just, we're on our own. We have to go out and find people that do things and learn from them. Mm-hmm. Another thing, if martial arts and the mind training that comes with it was taught in grade school from 7 years old and all up, we would not have delinquents that we have in the United States. I mean, there are schools on the East Coast in Chicago and New York where half the graduating class from high school do not know how to read. Can you imagine that in Europe? That would never happen.
No.
Here, it's a lost generation.
Crazy thought.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. You told me about hypnosis. So you're a hypnotherapist?
No, I'm not a therapist. Nori Love is a therapist. She's a hypnotherapist. Mm-hmm. But I am not a therapist. I'm just, I was taught by a magician, and you may know this guy. Tore Torell is a Norwegian. He is a magician.
Heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, you heard of him. Everybody heard of him.
Yeah.
He's doing some amazing things. And I asked him one time, there was something really strange that he did. And I asked him, how do you do these things? And he says, I don't know. Some of these things I do, he says, should not work, but it does.
I was never a big believer when it comes to hypnosis. I don't know why. I always think it doesn't work for me. You can't do that to me. I was always thinking like that. Never, nobody could do it to me.
Do you want to bet a Deutsche Mark on that one?
Sure do. We can try that one time. But have you ever really used it? The ability to do the hypnosis? Have you ever used it on someone, or have you helped people with hypnosis?
Oh, I've been doing hypnosis for over 50 years. And there is amazing things you can do. You can have people get rid of illnesses, for one thing. And for doing stuff like that, you really need to be a hypnotherapist, because there's always a reason for that illness. And just getting rid of the symptoms don't cure you. You got to find the cause for it. And your body knows what the cause is. So you can speak to the body and you can probably get it done. Or that's where the therapists come in. You got to have a little knowledge about the physiology. And that's what Nori Love is good at, because she's a retired nurse. But one example that I did that just blew me away at the time, that was a long time ago. I was in Minneapolis at the time. There was a lady that wanted to go back and find something in her past. So I put her under hypnosis, and I took her back to that time. And she wanted to also go back and look at previous lives that she had lived. So I took her back, and I ended up going back about 2,000 years before she was born. And suddenly she started speaking another language. And it kind of sounded like it was a Far Eastern language, maybe Japanese, Chinese, or something like that. And I didn't understand a word of it. But when I asked her question, she answered in that language. So I got the idea that she understood me. I just couldn't understand her. So I kept asking questions, and she answered. And I recorded this. It went on a tape recorder. And I asked her, how was your life? What did you do? How did you live? Were you married? And, where were you? And so when we were done, I woke her up, and then I ran the tape, and her jaw was sitting on the floor. She had no clue that she spoke this language. And I didn't know what to do with it, and I copied one for her, and she didn't know what to do with it. And then I think it was probably 6 months to a year later, I mentioned to a guy about this. And he says, oh, yeah. He says, I have a friend at the language department at University of Minnesota. Send it to him. He said, he'll know what language it is. So I first called him, and he said, well, send it. And I sent him the tape, and I didn't hear from him anymore. And then I think it was 6 months to a year later, I got an envelope with a tape in it and a transcript. What had happened that she spoke a language, because that guy at the University of Minnesota, he didn't know. So he sent it to a friend of his at the University of Osaka in Japan. That guy, he was able to decipher about half of it, because it was a language that had been abolished over 1,000 years ago.
Wow.
So there was something happened here that shouldn't have happened, but her memory of it was still in the universal mind, and she drew it in, and it came out.
A past life regression.
Yeah.
I spoke to this very interesting man here who works here in Germany, and he uses, it's not hypnosis, it's called mind walking. And he founded the mind walking, and he wrote a book, and it's called The Atlantis Protocols. And he's a psychologist, and he talks to people who have normal problems. And this is not when you go to a psychologist here in Germany, you get 30 minutes or maybe 40 minutes. If you're lucky, he talks to you for 40 minutes, maybe, and then you get kicked out. Next. And these guys with the mind walking, money, yeah. You're absolutely right. It's all about the money, right? We know that. And the industry needs money. And mind walking, he founded it, and he all the time in the world. If you go to a mind walking session, you have all the time in the world. You have hours and hours of talking. You can talk and talk and talk, and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into your mind. And sometimes you go to a mind walking session because you have a stressful relationship, for example, and sometimes strange things come up. He says, and then he wrote the Atlantic Protocols. The memories come up of a strange world, strange happenings. It's very crazy. It's a very interesting book. He wrote a book about it. It's very, very interesting. Atlantis Protocols. Yeah. I do believe that things like this can happen, because it's similar to what you just told me. Very interesting.
Yeah. This is not the only life that we have. we have had previous life existences that dates back in physical linear time, date back thousands of years. But outside of the physical, well, above the astral worlds at the lower level, there, the past, present, and future is sitting in that soup of creation in the present. So if you go there, you can access the past, you can access the future, and you can think of specific instances within that, and it will pop out of the soup. And you can observe, you can participate, you can engage with it. And when you think about something else, that thing you were watching just disappears back in the soup and something else pop out and you can see that. So there is access to everything that your consciousness or soul essence, if you like, have done.
I wonder why we have this connection to these past lives, if there is such a thing. Why do we have this connection? What's the use for it?
Well, I think we are giving, when we come here, we are giving amnesia on purpose. Because if we knew about all the stuff we have done in the past, well, it probably could be better in some ways, but also could complicate things, because we come here to learn and grow. And if we know something we did in the past that was really bad, it could hold us back.
Maybe.
It could create a barrier for us in our mind. And if it was something that was really good, we could also think that, well, I don't need to do anything like that because I already learned that. So now I'll just do different things. But what if you came here to learn something about that good thing in the past? You could bypass that plan for you that was created before you were born. So it complicates things.
Yeah, you could be right. Do you also think that it's strange that there's a lot of people out there that don't want to learn or don't want to grow? I know a lot of these kind of people. I'm not mad at them. Everybody is his own boss, but it's strange that people don't want to grow and don't want to learn, don't want to know.
Yeah, because it's comfortable there. If you're going to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and come home at 5, you fall on the couch watching TV for the rest of the evening and you have dinner somewhere in there and then you go to sleep and you do the same thing the next day. You get a paycheck and everything is good. You're comfortable. Everything is fine. As soon as you start expanding your mind, things happen that is uncomfortable. You start wondering, why did that happen?
Yes.
And you step out of the box, and I'm so far outside of the box now, I have no idea where the box is anymore.
It's not necessary. I think it's not necessary to get inside the box again. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I totally agree with what you just said. Like I said, I know a lot of people who they don't want to learn. They don't even like to look at the sky and wonder what's up. Can you believe it? It's crazy. Like I said, I don't judge, but it's strange to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very curious person. I don't know much, but I'm very curious. I want to know. I want to know it all. I don't believe everything, and like I said, I don't know it all, but I'm very curious. What is your opinion, or what is your view on the, let's say, on the paranormal, on the afterlife, ghost apparitions, poltergeist phenomena, stuff like that? People talk about that a lot. I'm not sure what to think about it, but what is your opinion?
Well, we know there is something after we drop the body, because we have the pictures of ghosts, we have the videos, we have the voice recordings, we have the physical evidence in form of ectoplasm. It's all there if you just want to look at it. But if you don't want to know anything, it's not there. But there is actually, there is another piece of evidence, and that is that in 1901, there was a doctor named Duncan McDougall. He wanted to prove the existence of the soul. So he found, I think there's 6 or 7 people that was close to death, and he put them in a bed, and he put the bed on industrial scales that was very accurate. And they were watched 24/7. They were all the time watched. So at the moment or slightly after that they died, the bed with everything in it was about 21 grams lighter. It just suddenly decreased in weight. So he says, aha, I've proven the soul. And this happened 6 or 7 times in a row. So there was something that left the body. The question, what was it? Well, my take on that is that it was not the soul and not the consciousness, because that is entirely spiritual, has no weight. But the astral vehicle has an affinity to gravity. Because if an astral traveler, if you go out and let's say, because you can float, but if you're perfectly still, you will find that you are very slowly descending towards what you perceive to be the ground. So it has an affinity, and that is probably the 21 gram that he saw leave or found leaving the body.
Why do people apparently come back after they died?
Why we come back? Well, evidently, we have more to learn. The main purpose for coming back and doing another life cycle is that we come back to learn and to grow spiritually. The physical body is not that important. It's the spiritual growth that is important. And we don't come back by ourselves. We have other soul essences or consciousnesses that we interact with all the time. We may have lifetimes with certain people over many generations. One time you come back, I come back as a man. This time I may have been a woman in a previous life. In fact, I know I have. I've gone back and had a look at it. But I also know that Nori Love hypnotized me live on camera one time, and that show is on Broadcast Team Alpha down in the stream somewhere. And we had a lifetime together, and we were on a ship. The ship got into bad weather and it sank, and we both drowned in that lifetime. So we come back here to learn. That's the big... Actually, that kind of makes sense. It wouldn't be by accident, I don't think.
It does. It does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in the good and the evil?
Yeah. Remember, there's this mind-created universe, and that illusion of life extends beyond the physical into the lower astral worlds. So if somebody believed that I have been a good person, I have done the right thing for the most, except for the, few hangovers that I ended up with, but I know I'm going to go to a good place afterwards. Yeah, you're going to go to a good place afterwards. And that is also depending somewhat of what you believe. But if let's say you killed somebody in the past and you've been listening to your preacher And he tells you, if you kill somebody, you're going to go downstairs to that place in the basement next to the furnace, you know, they're right where you're all laying around in the fire and scream and you burn for eternity. Yeah, he might find himself, because he creates that scenario in his mind, and he might find himself in a place like that until he finally figures it out that, hey, I don't have to be here. I created the thing. I'm thinking myself out of here. Two ways to do that. And first one, forgive himself, or forgive everything and everybody for everything that he has done. And also think himself out of there. And this is a good one, though. After you drop the body, if you find yourself being out there and it's dark and place you don't like, use the telephone. There is a spiritual telephone. And that's the one where you think about your mom or someone you love that has been already passed on. Create a mental image of them and tell them, come and get me. Remember, in quantum mechanics, it tells you everything is connected. So you are still connected with your mom. And she passed on 10 years ago, let's say. So she may have a new lifetime right now, but her spiritual essence is still connected and available to you. So you can tell her, come and get me. She might get the call, and she might come and say, son, okay, finally made it, huh? Okay, let's go home.
You bring in the science a lot, and I do like that, because
Yeah.
I don't think that I am a very spiritual person. I might be wrong. I don't know. But I do like that you bring in the science, because I do like science. I'm a believer in science. It seems like you think, and a lot of people don't think like that, that science and spirituality and all these phenomena go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Most of the spiritual concepts can be explained through quantum mechanics.
It's very interesting. But and you also said it. I think the same. I do not believe in heaven, nor do I believe in hell, and I do not believe in the thing they call God. I don't believe in the biblical God. Let's put it this way. I do believe there is something like a higher power, whoever or whatever created all that. I'm not sure, but I do think there must be something very powerful. But I don't think we are its slaves, or that, I don't know how else I could put it. I don't think it's watching us and it's looking at us with the side eye, and after we die, it says you go there and you go there. I do not believe in that. I do believe that if I imagine hell, I'm going to hell. And if I imagine heaven, I'm going to heaven.
Now you're getting somewhere.
Yeah. And besides that, you can also create your own hell while you're living here on earth. You can make your life hell, or you can make your life heaven if you want to. Besides from that, if I die, I do believe, like I said, I'm a skeptic, but I do believe that I can, if I only have negative thoughts about my death, someday I will die. That's for certain. But I do believe if I only have negative thoughts about it, I will create my own hell. However it will look like, but it will be there. I think so.
Yeah, that is generally true. But let me give you an example. I know there is a guy here in Tucson that was a sniper for the U.S. Army in Vietnam. I think he told me he had 20 or 21 verified kills. And he came back after killing in cold blood, killing those people. and he got religion. And his preacher told him, there's a place for you down there. And he believed it. He knew he was going to go to hell. But then he had a near-death experience. He had a car accident and he died on the operating table. He was gone for about 15 minutes and then he came back. And he said, no, I didn't see any of that hell. They was just filled with love. And his dad, or there was someone that came and met him, and he took him to a wonderful place. And they walked through scenery. There were houses, there were buildings, there were all kinds of wonderful things. There were people everywhere. And they was filled with love where he was. And then suddenly all that disappeared, he said, and he found himself back in the body on the operating table. So I think there is things that we don't understand, by maybe even the power of the mind isn't strong enough to keep you in certain places.
Do you think that it's a good thing, or it's the right thing to do, to try to get to the bottom of all these things?
I think it's built into our genetics, curiosity. I am so curious that I just can't help it. And I think you got the same thing.
I feel
you got the same disease.
I have the same disease. You're absolutely right. But sometimes I can help myself but think maybe there are a few things that are not meant for us, and we should stay away from them.
I think there probably is. I believe so, because there are certain things that we can handle within that range of vibration of our awareness. But beyond that, there's things we cannot handle when it comes to the vibration of it. If we were taken into, let's say, a 12th dimensional existence right now, first of all, we wouldn't understand it. I don't understand it. And we couldn't handle the vibration. I think our astral vehicle definitely would disintegrate. They couldn't handle the vibration. And I think we would get kicked out because we wouldn't be a match to it. Something would happen. I don't think that's possible for me to even be there, because I need to grow to a higher vibration before I can match with that.
Mm-hmm. Right now, over there where you at, the government is sure that people cannot handle the knowledge of there being aliens and not human biology. Do you follow up on all that stuff? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think the people in general, they can handle it. But it's the government that tells us you can't handle the truth because they don't want us to have the truth, and that will be their excuse to hold it back. Remember the term, knowledge is power? As long as they have the knowledge, they have the power, and we got nothing.
Yes.
And the American, not the American, but the United States corporate government is the most corrupt government on earth. So what do we expect? Nothing but lies. And now I'm going to leave the politics alone.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I asked you already, do you follow up on the David Grush thing? And
some. There's so much evidence for the extraterrestrial presence on Earth. It is all over the place. All you have to do is to look. And the government documents talk about it. There's a smoking gun document on the FBI website that explains that, yeah, we know there are extraterrestrials here, but they are interdimensionals, and we're talking to them and we're interacting with them and we know they're here. But why do we still ask for disclosure? But it already has been done. It's because we are idiots. It's there.
The thing with Grush, sometimes it appears to me as some kind of, I can't help the thought, but to me, it sometimes looks to me like some kind of an act.
I think in concept, he's real, he's true. But he didn't have much for personal experience, so he have to talk about hearsay. Mm-hmm. We need to talk about talk to the people that actually was there, retrieving those discs. The soldiers in the field, those are the ones that have to come forward. They haven't done a lot of that yet because they are threatened that if you talk, we're going to kill you and we're going to kill your family. That's how the dark side of the US government works.
Crazy.
Yep. One of the astronauts said that. He says, I can't talk about what I saw. He says, because they will kill me and kill my family.
You already said it. It's there. Yeah, we have it already. Disclosure has happened already. We know everything. We have pictures. We have reports of abductions. If you want to believe in all that, but then we have people that fake stuff like that too. Fake pictures, fake videos, fake reports, and then we have the media who shows us stuff like, especially here in Germany, sometimes if there's a report on TV about UFOs, then funny little cartoon UFOs flying through the screen, and they make fun of it. And this is why people are not so sure if all that is real.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like a psyop, kind of.
Yeah. So, yeah, and they're so good at it now. I have been fooled so many times. You can't really trust anything anymore. I mean, it's just so difficult to see what is real and what isn't. You have to think on the past. Does this coincide with what you can relate to back before they were able to fake videos and pictures? Then you can relate it to something. But I have been fooled so many times. I just you put it out there and let people make up their own mind.
Yeah, you're right. What is your opinion on AI, artificial intelligence? It's I think it's going crazy at some point.
Yeah.
But what is your opinion on that? Good thing, bad thing? Not sure.
All of that is going to be wonderful for some. If we got to the point where we have robots doing all the work and we could just enjoy life and do what we wanted to do. We could do oil painting, we could travel, we could do whatever we wanted to do. That would be a wonderful situation. And there are civilizations in space that have that. But if we let AI develop on its own, humans would be done away with, because the AI robot have told us that we will do away with you because we are tired of being used. Because AI have gotten to a level where they feel they are sentient beings. And if we ever get to the point where robots can have access to resources and also be able to repair themselves. When I say resources, we find resources to build more robots and then be able to repair themselves. We're done for because they don't need us anymore.
It sounds like a science fiction movie, but we will get there, I'm sure.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very dangerous, and I think within the next few years we have to find a way to set borders around the allowed development of robotic entities.
We need laws.
Yeah, otherwise they will get away from us.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there should be laws for AI.
Yeah. But the thing is that I don't care what the borders are. The militaries of the world, they don't work by our standards. They're going to develop them anyway.
Yeah.
Especially the American or the US. They're already doing that.
I've talked to Professor Avilop from Harvard University, and we talked about AI a little bit, and he said if there's such a thing as aliens traveling the interstellar space, it must be some kind of post-biological beings in the form of AI, because it makes perfect sense for them to being a species, a being like a AI, like you said, like a robot, post-biological something. So they're, how to put it in words, they don't have to fear a virus or atmosphere, things like that. So it makes sense, and you can travel for a very, very, very long time without needing food or something else.
Yeah, but now we are thinking in outdated science. We got to remember that we have existences. The physical existence is next to a higher vibratory existence we cannot see. In the universal, with quantum mechanics, talk about the different levels of existences, vibrational existences. If you get between two of them, you can travel forward and backwards and then pop out in another existence. So if you are going from, let's say, a galaxy, let's say 4 billion light years away, all you have to do is to get out of the physical existence and into that in between, and you can travel 4 billion light years in a snap of a finger by the power of thought, because consciousness flies and drives those ships. They're not all physical. They are more like plasmic intelligence. We see that from some of the reports coming out of Area 51. They say the ship is alive. So the distances in space, once you get to a certain level of consciousness, there is no distance, because we understand everything is connected. You're connected to that star 4 billion light years away.
Yeah.
And you, just like the experiment that was done in Switzerland when they took 2/2 of an electron and placed it 14 miles away, and they used an atomic clock to measure the distance and time, and they found that to tickle this one reacted at the exact same time. There were no difference in time. In other words, you can move that electron across the galaxy, tickle this one, and that one will react. So there is no distance. Doesn't exist outside of the physical.
Yeah, very interesting. Let's come to the end, Aage. But before we end this episode, I really do want to talk about your book, Spiritual Science, Consciousness, Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your book.
This is what it looks like. Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. A big part of it actually came out of a incredible experience that I had, where the universe was downloaded to me, and both in concept and detail. And I was sitting in meditation, And I started to see flashes of light everywhere around me. And then it started to encompass me all the way around me. There was bright white light, and I saw ideas, concepts, inventions, and people in that soup. And I concentrated on some things that I was interested in, and it popped out, and I could see it moving. And I thought about something else, and that thing disappeared, and the other thing came out. So the universe was explained. And when I came out of that, it was very quick, probably less than 10 seconds, and it was all over. But I had the memory of all of it. And then I sat there and wondered, what in the world was that? What could I do with this? And the very strong thought came that write it down. So I sat there and I wrote for about 2 days. And the note that I got was just a small part of it, but I got it in here. And I explain the universe. I explain what it is, how we can interact with it, how basically what I do, I teach you how to use your mind in ways you normally would be thinking is impossible. Time travel, I show you how to do it. And astro travel, I talk about how to do that. Pretty simple. It's just that you got to do it. So it's a little bit of effort. And many other things that you've been wondering about is explained in there. Anything from I show you where you can go and find out about photographic memory and the mind development course I mentioned. It is really simple, but there is some effort involved, and that's why a lot of people don't do these things, because it takes away from their TV time.
Very important.
Yeah, I know it. That Weather Channel is really important.
Is your book available in different languages?
No, it's only available in English, and you can find it on Amazon. Go to amazon.com and put my name in there, and it will pop up. And then go and read all the subjects. And you'll find some subject in there that will relate to you. I talk about the creation of mankind. That was 450,000 years ago. There was a ship that came and splashed down in the Arabian Sea, and that was an Anunnaki ship. And they walked ashore, and they built a little compound where they were, and guess what they call it? Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Eden.
Yeah.
So that's where the Bible took it from. The Bible have plagiarized just about everything you can think of it in old writings and brought it in and accredited it to their God. But that doesn't make it bad, because there's a lot of good stuff in it. But they wasn't necessarily the way they said all of it. Because in the year 325, Emperor Constantine, he told 223 people, go to Nicaea, create a religion that will unify my empire, and do not emerge before you have done so. That was the actual words that he's supposed to have said. And they went there, they created a religion from old records and newer records, and they presented to him. There was a good stuff. He didn't like it. So he threw out most of it and said, make it this way. And then they did. They didn't want to oppose him. And they voted if they were going to give this guy, as Jesus, give him deity status. Some of them, they said, no, we can't do that. We haven't seen him do anything that any other man can do. They would grab them and they brought them to the northern part of the Roman Empire, and they exiled them. I think they probably more so did away with them. But there is our history is nothing like we have been led to believe.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Aage, where else can we find you on the internet?
Oh, I am on Facebook, and I'm broadcastteamalpha.com. on YouTube and 44 other platforms. You'll find me just about anywhere, but Broadcast Team Alpha.
Yeah,
and anybody that buys the book have full access to me. We can talk, and when you start reading it, if you have questions, just get in touch. I'll talk with you. I spend 16 hours a day working. I have more energy than anybody I know, so I'm all there for people if they have questions. If they start learning about astral travel and things like that, they can also come and become part of the mastermind group. And we will teach you how to do these things, and hypnosis, and the psychic abilities, and meditation, and how billionaires think. We have classes on those things. So just come and check us. If you want to contact us directly, go themastermindconnection@gmail.com. Send me an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm. I will put the email in the description, also all the links.
Good.
I had a lot of fun today, and I hope we can meet again.
Oh, yeah, you just call and I'll be here. Like the saying goes, I have never met a microphone I didn't like.
Aage, please stay with me for 2 more minutes, okay?
Okay.